have another great video. I'm going to show you how you can make custom labels at home. It doesn't just have to be for business, it could be for personal use. And these are convenient because you can always customize them straight from the comfort of your home. And you also don't have to worry about placing a minimum order with the manufacturer. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the different materials that you need so you can get to creating your own labels. And just for reference, these are some of the labels that I'm talking about. I've done these for my own products and you can see that it definitely makes it look a lot more professional. And you can also choose the color of your lettering, the fabric choices, but I'll go over that in more detail. So first things first is you need a Cricut or a similar machine that could print out the lettering. It doesn't have to be a Cricut. I know there's other brands that exist, but whatever you have in your possession and you're able to afford, then that's the one that you would get. I have the Cricut Joy Extra. This one works perfect for the projects that I need. I know they have a smaller size, so that one's a little bit more affordable if that's something that you're looking into. Next, you would need to decide on the kind of material that you would want to use. I'm going to give you two options. So the first one is you can use a regular cotton material. The only thing with this is that's a little bit more transparent, so it doesn't give that professional look. So if you want something that's a little bit more professional, you would use a cotton canvas material. So this one's definitely a little bit more sturdier, so you can give it that nice shape. I use cotton canvas, and that's how I'm able to mold the nice rectangle shape. You can make it into a square, just depends on your logo and the letters that you're adding. And based on the color of your material, you're able to decide on what vinyl you're going to use. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. I say vinyl, it might be pronounced differently. But once you choose the color of your fabric, you can decide on the color of your letters. So since I'm using a beige color, obviously white would not look good. So that's why I use black for my letters. If you want red, gold, whatever it is, just make sure you're able to correspond it with one another so it matches and your lettering stands out, because that's the whole point of having a logo or a brand label on your product. Next, you're going to need a heat source. It could be a handheld iron, it could be a heat press. I would probably recommend this still, or a smaller one, since you can maneuver it a little bit more easier and avoid getting burned with something so big like a heat press that's made for t-shirts. And of course, another item is you need a heat resistant pad or a material that you can use so your surfaces don't get burned when you're ironing the product together. And of course, you need you some scissors. You should already own these because in a craft room, these are definitely one of the top products. And yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up. If I'm missing anything, of course, I'll include it in the clip. But for now, I'm going to plug in the machine and we'll get started. Okay, machine is ready. It's literally so simple to just plug it in. Now I need to set up my computer. I had to adjust my letters since they wouldn't fit straight across. But make sure that you also hit the mirror button. If you don't do that, your letters are not going to come out. Then you would hit continue. Okay, machine is ready. It's literally so simple to just plug it in. Now I need to set up my computer. I had to adjust my letters since they wouldn't fit straight across. Hit continue. On the next screen, select your correct material. I like to use the Smart Iron-On since I don't need transfer paper. I just need my vinyl and it helps me to save one step. Go ahead, load your material, make sure that the machine is able to read it, and let it cut the project. After the machine cuts its project, you would be left with a big panel of vinyl, but what I recommend is to cut your project into little squares in between the letters. And the reason I like to cut it is so if I mess up by accidentally removing a letter, it doesn't affect the rest of the project, because you don't want that to go to waste. Depending on the font that you use, some of them are going to be thin, so letters like the L or the I can be easily damaged, so you want to avoid that. So you would have a lot of little squares. Make sure you use your tool to go ahead and pick at them, and when you're done peeling these small squares, you'll be left with the clear transparent side and your lettering, so you can revise and make sure that everything is correct, or if you need to make any adjustments. So then you would lay out your material, whether you decided to go through with the canvas or a much thinner material. Make sure that you're keeping space in between each label. I'm going to put the next one so you have an idea. And right around there, because the whole point is you want to be able to fold it so that you can have a nice edge on the back. As you can see right here, these are all folded ends from each corner. Don't forget to put your heat resistant material on the bottom. I just use a towel. It's kind of like the face towels, but I've always used this one for my crafting. Stick good. And again, leaving space in between each label. I'm going to go ahead and press it right now. Just a few seconds. What I like to do is press it down with a tool just to help it adhere a little bit better. This material is much thicker, so you definitely want to make sure that you put some type of pressure on it. Just be careful with your fingers because the heat is really hot right now. This is how they came out. Now I just have to cut the little squares. Make sure that you leave some space and then cut in between each label. Just make sure you have space around it. So we're left with individual labels, and now we have to make a straight stitch down. Leave a little bit of a gap so the line doesn't cut through your letter. You're going to repeat the same for this one. And you can connect the pieces so you don't have to keep on adjusting your needle. Right here in this part, you don't have to trim out your thread. You can just connect it. So the next piece, you would repeat the same thing, leave a little bit of space. And then we're going to go ahead and do the top and the bottom, and then we'll get our rectangle. And at this point, you would have a string of labels that you can just cut in between each one, but I only did two, so this is just an example. You would have your individual labels, but in order to finalize it and make them look good, we're going to go ahead and trim the excess. So I like to cut out the little side so it doesn't stick out. And so the back side doesn't matter how it turns out, as long as you can create a nice look, then you'll be good. And just like that, you would have you a nice label that you can easily attach onto your product.